Well, one of the things we've learned from Elon, though, because he says it all the time, is if you don't reach scale, it doesn't matter if you've got 5 good markets in Africa and 2 good markets in South America. I mean, you've got to get to scale.
The future's going to take a whole lot of power, but where is it going to come from and how long will it last? Do we have anything we can do that is not unsustainable, but rather sustainable? Well, there is a possibility. Tesla says they're going to work on solar panels, and maybe they are. Maybe they've already filed permits, so we'll see about that. Got a whole story covering that. And then just for fun, we've got some other news that's a little bit different about Subaru and GM and their plans for the future and their ridiculous shortcomings today. And I got my buddy Randy here from his channel, from Randy Kirk. Channel of the Randy Kirk is what it's called, I've decided. And we're going to have a chat about that. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Asa. So, Randy, you are a best-selling author, an entrepreneur, a YouTuber of some repute. Ill is still some, I'll count that. But by the way, guys, Randy and I will be at the Tesla Diner in October for an event through the LA Tesla Owners Club. It's going to be a lot of fun. You should join us. You can become a member of the LA Tesla Owners Club for free. They've reduced the membership cost to $0. So do that. I assume Randy has, but I'm not going to put him on the spot. Tesla has filed plans for a $10.1 billion solar cell factory in Tesla. Picture unrelated, because it's not those. It's just the normal kind. Tesla's planning a massive addition to its manufacturing footprint in Texas, according to a public application filing under the Jobs, Energy, Technology, and Innovation Act, shared by industry watcher Sawyer Merritt. That's a good term for Sawyer. Tesla is evaluating the vertically integrated solar cell manufacturing facility in Fort Bend, located about 40 minutes outside of Houston, internally named Project Crystal Sun. Construction is scheduled to begin later this year, wrap up in 28, with commercial operations starting in 29. Oh, Randy, I'm going to be old by then.
Yeah, but you'll be catching up with me.
So here's the thing, Randy. I've got a factory. I make widgets. And the real problem I have is there's a speed at which I make widgets optimally. But what happens when my demand falters? I have to shift gears, and that's not good, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So what happens if they go to full speed and there aren't enough customers to take up all those solar panels? What do they do? Do they slow down? Do they warehouse them?
I'm not 100% sure they're going to sell any of them.
That's the other thing, right? Why would you, sell them? I mean, you can sell them, but you can use them.
Yeah.
Because so your cost is lower than anyone else because you're not paying the markup.
Yes. Tesla already has a wholesale business where they're renting from these folks in Spain. They rent a field of solar panels, and then they resell to wholesalers. They've already got a field in Texas where they buy it and sell it to retail, not to wholesale. Because in ERCOT, you can easily become a utility, ERCOT in Texas. And then there's their own buildings, and then there's their own charging stations, and then it goes from there. It just keeps the pods. What are they going to call them? The megapods. They're going to need power. So you've got all kinds of applications for Tesla to use these panels. Now, maybe they're going to sell them retail or wholesale as well. I have no idea, but I could imagine them just using them internally.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing is, if you wish to sell them, sell them. Yeah, just do it. But it's like megapacks. If Tesla's backlog were to drop to a certain point, they could start, they just keep them. They would just keep them internally. They have abundant use cases for them internally that doesn't matter. So you can just run at optimal speed and just know that you are the customer of, at worst, last resort. SpaceX can launch rockets faster than anyone. If they were to rely exclusively on outside customers, they would have too much capacity. They would have they'd just be wasting the opportunity cost would be vast. Yeah, they'd have made fewer rockets, but more rockets is how you keep the cost down. And well, the calendar isn't full, so fill it. Can we get the satellites in time? Fill the calendar.
Well, Brian, now that you mentioned that, I haven't asked you this question yet. I'm trying to remember to ask all of my co-host people, and that is, okay, it's probably going to cost $5,000 to $15,000 to put a satellite in space. Satellite itself, the guts, whatever the experiment is, whatever the
Oh,
whatever the ability, 100% everything, all in between 5 and 15,000. That's according to Grok. Once we've got Starship catching both the booster and the ship, it's going to be about $15,000. So now that you can do that for 15,000, Brian, what is the satellite you will put in space?
um, I will think about that and get you an answer before the show ends, but I have to think about it. And while I'm thinking about it, I should mention that you can subscribe. It's free and it's fun and it helps the channel. And I do this to keep it lighthearted and fun, so you don't get too annoyed that I am doing that. By the way, in case you didn't know, this is what the site looks like, where they would be building the solar fab. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
so
The site.
it's weird that they were able to find such a large piece of land all in purple, but I guess if when you've got as many smart people, you can do all
Yeah,
kinds of crazy
yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
Um, by the way, on that 15,000 for launch, does that include the satellite manufacturer or is that just the launch?
No, that's the launch would be like, I don't know, 2 or 3 thousand of it. The rest of it is the satellite itself. And they have what they call these mini sats or
Rideshare.
something.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
No,
like
but
little
these are like,
CubeSat rideshare.
That's it, CubeSats. Yeah. So you can buy the
Mhm.
CubeSat, you can put your experiment in it or your cameras or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And yeah, it's about, again, it could be as low as 5,000 according to Grok. And probably for most people, it wouldn't be above 15,000. Very doable.
Hmm. I think what I would do is I've got my little Optimus, similar to the one on your shelf behind you. I think I'd send two of those up with a camera and make it like a dramatic movie scene where there's just a live stream of them drifting through space because I don't have a better idea yet. It might also be fun to send up maybe, like a carbonated beverage, a can of Coke or something, and set the CubeSat to slowly depressurize until
And
the
see,
can take no more.
see what it
Uh,
does.
and maybe combine the two into a single experiment. That's that's a good idea. So solar panels, we get it. We know it's a spreadsheet question. What does it cost to make? How long is the payback on it? And then if you look at just the amount of roof space, canopy space, and open land,
Yeah.
look at surrounding Giga Nevada. There's a lot of land there. It is not ideally situated in terms of sunlight, but there's a point at which it works.
Yes. Yes.
Now, advertising. A lot of people talk, Tesla needs to advertise. Subaru's spending money on advertising 3 times as much as they are on their gas cars per car. It's not working. Companies' U.S. marketing expenses reportedly increased 40% last quarter, with most of the money going to EVs. Most of it, Randy, and it's not working.
Not working.
Turns out, and this is just me spitballing here. You tell me if this sounds right. Build a good car. Build
Yeah.
a good car
Usually,
first.
usually, yes.
Now, the new generation of the Solterra is better than the previous generation by a lot, but they spent 10 grand on incentives for each Solterra it sold from April through
Wow.
June.
Wow.
Additionally, another 9 grand was spent for each Uncharted sale and about 9,000 for each Trail Seeker. That's, you guys,
Yeah.
that's, I can see why you're hesitant. You think people don't want EVs. They do, just not yours.
Not yours. Yeah. So, Elon has his saying, right? If you make a product that people want at a cost that people will want to pay, um, actually, he says it the opposite. He says if you don't make a product that is a good value that people, want and want to pay the price you're willing to offer it at, then don't go in business.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense to me. You got to think about the long term. And if you're thinking about the long term, the GM and SAIC announced a 20-year joint venture extension. That will save GM. By the way, there's a lot of confusion around what GM and SAIC's partnership is. There are
Mm.
people who think it is a technology sharing one, or that SAIC is making cars that are coming to the US. They are not. SAIC makes Cadillac and Buick in China. And if you see a Chinese Buick, from the outside, you can tell that's not something that's sold in the US. And
Wow.
then you get inside and look at the infotainment, and this is not, this is in no way, apart from the badge, a US car. But this would extend the contract, which is expiring next year, for until 2047,
Mm.
a year so far out that when I was a kid watching sci-fi movies, they didn't go out that far. So that's kind of making me feel old, but we're committed to strong performance in the China market, and we see meaningful opportunities to compete in select international markets: the Middle East, Africa, South America, Mexico, and Asia Pacific. You think you're going to be selling Buicks in Africa? I respect the hubris, but that's a little crazy. The Alliance extension opens a new chapter which aims to accelerate the transformation of its technology offerings with new energy vehicles in China, explore new growth opportunities in export markets, and thus achieve sustainable profitability by renting out our name. So I don't know, man. What do you think? GM, right track, wrong track, or derailed?
Well, they're picking a good partner. SAI, from my understanding and my exploration, SAIC and Geely are the two that you probably most want to deal
Hmm.
with in terms of making cars for you in China. Now, whether this turns out to be a good deal for either one of them is a whole other question. But it's no different than anything else that we do in business, and that is, does the car look good? Does the car drive well? Does the car cost, what you're willing to pay for what it is? And if they do those kinds of things, they'll probably sell cars. Now, we just talked about this. I think that it's going to have to be an AV fairly soon. If it's
Hmm.
not got AV capabilities, I think you're going to have a hard time selling anything.
So I'm going to, for the case of this car specifically, disagree. Because if you're trying to export to South America, Africa, those markets are going to take longer to develop autonomous vehicles. There's no training. It doesn't exist. So we've got another at least 3 to 5 years before it becomes a serious consideration in a whole lot of land mass. Africa, people don't realize, is very, very big. And the driving styles are different all over, I'm sure, just as they are in different cities in the US. If this can be cheap enough that it makes sense in Africa, in South America, in the less developed parts of Asia, it would potentially be valuable. And at the very least, you're keeping your brand name out front and center so people can remember it in the future when you want to sell more upmarket cars. So there's risks, but
Yeah. Well, one of the things we've learned from Elon, though, because he says it all the time, is if you don't reach scale, it doesn't matter if you've got five good markets in Africa and two good markets in South America. I mean, you've got to get to scale. And now, if they're making
mhm,
all of them at SAIC, SAIC's got a scale issue too. They're like, okay, if we're not making 5,000 vehicles a month, it's not worth it to us.
right.
You got to
Yes.
do something else. So if they can't sell them in China and they can't sell them in Europe and can't sell them in the United States, and they're only counting on these little niche markets, they may not be able to make enough of them to get to scale.
Mhm. And SAIC is really running the show on these. This is they, are not waiting for GM to take the lead. They're presumably collaborating to some degree on styling and design. But beyond that, I can't imagine GM gets any input on the actual electronics or manufacturing, because we got this, Grandpa.
Right.
Uh, so, uh, Yeah. So at the very least, this will provide some revenue for GM with very little work on their part. I guess that's better than nothing, but how much better? To be determined is, I guess, the answer. So, guys, I am about to head out of town, heading to Nepal. We'll be there for a couple weeks. If you have questions about Nepal, let me know. I can't read your minds. I've tried. Gives me a headache. So what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it in them comments below, won't you? Everyone else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys in Kathmandu. Yeah, if you're there, let me know.